Okay, so this is going to be a tutorial about how to create a template for making a paper box that's no glue. I was looking around for templates and they have a lot of free SVG template downloads and things like that, but a lot of them required glue and wasn't quite what I was looking for. And I didn't really see any tutorials on how to like do it yourself, but I was able to figure it out and it's not too bad. First things first, you want to make sure you have your smart guides on to set up. You're going to be using it with smart guides the majority of the time. There's a couple times where you turn it off if you need to finesse a little bit. But I'm going to start out with a square, and if you have the 12 by 24 sheet, you're not really as limited because you can turn them on their side and print long ways, but right now I'm going to design one that's going to be the size to fit on a 12 by 12. So I'm going to change the dimensions to 2.5 by 2.5, and then I'm going to duplicate that for all of them. So, and this is where the smart guides come in handy. You just drag and drop them. So there's the base. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that, put it in a group, and then I'm going to hide it for now because we'll come back to that later. Now we get to concentrate on other parts. So this is the base, and then this is the 4 sides. So keeping the size of the base in mind, I'm going to start adding the top closure and then the bottom tabs and the tabs on the side. So first thing I like to do is get a triangle, unlock it, and remember this is 2.5 by 2.5, so this base has to be 2.5. So edit, and the width is half. And then the height has to be, in order to meet right in the middle for the closure, you want the height to be half of that size, so 1.25, so it meets in the middle. I'm going to lock it. So now I've got that size, so if you can, I can lay it over, and so now if you have 4 of them, they'll all meet in the middle. So now if you want to make like a no glue closure, it kind of looks like a little flower on top with all these circles. So I then take a circle, line that up the middle, change the size. I find 3/4 of an inch works great, so 0.75. So I line that up and I instantly weld it together. And now just having it like this, oh, here, I'll bring it to the front. That's under edit, never mind. Sorry if it takes me a little while to get organized. It's hard for me to talk and create at the same time. So you'll see there's going to be a gap here. I mean, they could all line up, but you want to cover this gap a little bit. So the next thing you do is you insert another triangle. Of course, you want to send that to the back so you can actually see where you're lined up. And then you unlock it and then kind of scooch it in. See if I can't line that up. Nope. Here we go. I like to line it up on this side. There we go. And then, so when you unlock it, you want it to barely come up and touch the edge of that circle. So once you get it, the spot where you like it, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It's a little harder to see. Once you get it the spot that you really like it, that looks good. There we go. And you slice it. Okay. You don't need the extra ones. You put that one to the side, and then this one. Sometimes it takes it a minute to. Sometimes the first time I press it and I go to hit hide contour, it's not highlighted, so just try it a couple times. I don't know, that application is sometimes a little buggy, and you'll see me double checking sizes, because a lot of times if I'm touching something, it'll resize accidentally, and I want to make sure I'm not doing that. So you hide that part of the contour, so you're just left with this piece. And now go together and weld it. So now you've got your top pieces. So you just duplicate the next 3. and put them together. Alright, now since this is your base, you want little flaps at the side here, so the easiest way to do that is get the octagon shape, and I'm actually just going to duplicate this one. Oh, wait, it was right in front of me the whole time. Duplicate that, center it, and then when I pull out, no, actually I don't want you. Sometimes the smart guides will throw you off. If it is throwing you off, just take your whole thing and move it to the side where it's not going to line up with anything, and then it should only be focused on the two objects there. So that looks good. So I'm going to slice that. Okay. And then I can get rid of that. Alright, so now I have pieces. I'm going to duplicate this. Now I'm going to hide the contour there. And you get to take that and just slide it all the way up. And then you have your flaps for the bottom. And then with this one, you hide all these guys. And then you have for the side. And double check your sizing. So if you hit edit, it should be so you can adjust it to be 2.5 so it fits exactly on there. It's not as important on the bottom ones, but on the side it's a little more visible. So now we have a flap to tuck in here and these flaps to tuck in here. Now we need the tabs that will be going in. So easiest way I do that is I start with a square and then a circle. You don't need to shrink it down, you just need to line it up so it has a tab type shape. Weld it. And then this, since these are 2.5, let's see, sometimes, let's see, let's do, unlock it, let's do the width of 1 inch, yeah, 1 inch, and a height of, let's say 0.75. That is a good sized tab. And then you just line up one there and duplicate. Duplicate. And then you're going to make another tab up here. But so you rotate it 90 degrees. And the curved side's on that side. So just flip it horizontally and line it up. So now, pardon me, you'll have your entire shape for the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now group these together and then we're going to hide those. But now we're going to bring back this group. And so this is, we're coming back to this base. So these are what will help us line up the cut areas. I'm going to ungroup it first so that the guides come back on. If you leave it grouped, the guides will only show up for the outer edges. But what you want to do is you want to then get shapes and go under the score line and then edit that to no longer be a score line but a cut line. And then you change the height. So we're going to do 1 inch. Well, let's do 1 by 1.1 just to give us a little extra easy wiggle room to get in your tabs. So done. So now we have one here. You see how it lines up. So what you want to do is you want to line these up center. There's that. Okay. Duplicate. Come on. Duplicate. And then this one, rotate 90 degrees. And then the last one is over here. And I'll just highlight that one again to duplicate it. And there we go. So I'm going to move this one over slightly just to be lined up. But so far that looks great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the boxes really quick. Just kind of shove them up there because I want to make these into another group. Okay, now I can bring these boxes back down. Okay, I'm going to highlight them all. I'm going to edit them and change them to a score line. So there you go. And now I'm going to quickly group them so they don't fall out of place. And now here's where if you try and line these up with the score line, with the smart guides on, it's a little more tedious. So I go and I change that, turn it off. Now I usually focus on these three right here, because once these three get lined up just so, I know the other one's in a perfect spot too. So those are all good. So I'm going to highlight these all and attach them together. I can move this down. Now I'll go over to the layers that are hidden and undo that. So now the last step here would be to weld all of these items together. You can try and highlight it, and first of all, I'm going to ungroup them just because sometimes I feel like that messes with things. But if I weld, yeah, sometimes wonky stuff like that happens. So sometimes I end up doing it in small sections. Yeah. Let's just do that section. I'm going to do all these smaller, what I think might be trouble sections. And now let's try it all. Hey, there we go. So now I like to change it to a brighter color, just because it's easier to see. So let's do a nice lavender. And then now I line these up, and I usually zoom in on this corner. And again, just ever so carefully line it up. And you shrink it back and hit attach. So now you have a basic box shape. Now when you hit make it fits perfectly on a 12 by 12 sheet. So I hope this was helpful. So you can also tweak the design. I haven't done any experimenting with different patterns at the top. I just wanted a box that didn't require a lot of glue closure. My mother was going to be making soap, so she's like, hey, do you think you could figure out a box? And I was like, all right, and this would be easy to just, break down and pop up, and it's just something easy I wanted. Anyway, I can also show you how to do it, because these are nice even sides, but I've experimented with octagonal shapes, ones that are rectangle shapes, and sometimes if you have a mat that is the 12 by 24, you can make a pretty good sized box. But I don't have the 24 mat, but I've been able to trick my machine, especially if I rotate them to the side, I get a little more leeway for size, since I don't have the bigger mat ordered yet. So I've just been having fun with that. But let me know if there's anything you guys want to see. I'll try and troubleshoot it, because I was a little shocked that there weren't any like DIY ones, and when it's surprisingly easy to make a nice template on the Cricut application, not just the Cricut design space on the computer. I thought it was interesting that we could use the app so easily with the smart guides. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video.